I intend to become an expert. I'm just going to share with you what I've been doing the last few months and just kind of the progress I've made. So I want all of us to be very intentional, whether that's closing your eyes, whatever it is. I want all of us to be intentional with our thoughts for a minute and think about what $500 a month would do for you. Would that be paying down debt? Would that be putting it towards an investment property? Is that extra payment towards your mortgage? What would that look like if you could guarantee $500 a month?
Right. Vitamin bills.
Yeah, there you go. Vitamin bills, right? What would it be if you had $1,000 a month? And what would it be like if you had $5,000 a month? This is all money that happens to people all the time. It is not made up. I'm very lucky. So Deb Norman is my sponsor. So she's the reason I'm at KW. And I'm very lucky that I got to see the realness of profit share from like day one. We joined KW in 2015, long time ago, around there, long time ago. And I had closed something and it was a big closing. And Deb's like, oh my God, I just got $1,000. And it was like, we were maybe at KW 2-3 months and we saw the realness of that money. And Deb has grown her profit share. I aspire to have a profit share like Deb's. And it's something that for the 10 years I've been at KW, I just haven't really gotten that mailbox money. I had a couple times where I have, and it started to get me mad. I was like, why am I not getting this? So it's something that I've been more intentional with. And we're very lucky that we work in a very collaborative company that people share what works, right? They're not gatekeeping it. They're not hiding it. So who here is familiar with Linda McKissick? Okay, so Linda McKissick is just incredible. Investor, agent, huge profit share. So her and her son Press created a website where you can push your leads to. It's basically a lead funnel and help you grow your profit share. So I had known about people running Indeed ads and doing all that, but I didn't have a system in place. And I just didn't have the time to like build a website. That's not my strength. And thankfully, I think like in the fall, they had unveiled a website where they run it, you pay for it monthly, and then you can run your ads. So ever since then, that's what I've been doing. So today I'm going to show you the website and just kind of how I run this and my results so far. So who here knows what profit share is? Familiar with it? Who here is getting profit share monthly consistently, I'd say. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to play a really quick video just for those of us that don't know what profit share is.
When you're part of Keller Williams, you have the opportunity, no matter where you are in the world, to be rewarded for helping us grow through both the profit share and growth share systems. Keller Williams treats real estate sales associates like stakeholders in the business. Associates can build a stake inside this real estate company that is as powerful as if they owned the company themselves. Geography does not dictate your tree because both profit share and growth share are distributed across borders all over the world. And it doesn't matter where you practice real estate. It only matters where the person you sponsor practices real estate. For example, if you are named as a sponsor by someone from outside the United States and Canada, you are eligible to receive growth share. If you are named as a sponsor by someone in a profitable market center within the United States or Canada, you are eligible to receive profit share. The path to wealth building is the same in both systems. You relate and refer. Just build relationships anywhere in the world and refer your contact to team leaders anywhere in the world. Once you are named as a sponsor, you can enjoy the rewards of either system. Your tree can grow to 7 levels. You will receive your money automatically every month through profit share and every quarter through growth share. You can will it to your beneficiaries if the laws of your country allow. The potential is exponential. This wealth building platform allows associates anywhere in the company to take on the mindset and the reward of ownership anywhere in the world where Keller Williams has a presence.
All right, I like showing that because I think sometimes we like kind of know what profit share is, but I think that's like a really quick video to explain it for those that are kind of newer to the system here.
When you're part of Keller Williams.
So, all right. So I don't know how to recruit people or make a recruiting website, right? That's what I told myself. I said, I'm not a recruiter. That's not what I'm good at. But the best part is you don't have to recruit people necessarily, and you don't really have to make your own website. All of this is done for you. So one of the things I love about KW is if it can be done, there is a model for it and they'll share it, right? You don't have to worry about creating it yourself. It's very, very openly shared. So there's really 2 approaches to profit share. I, for the longest time, was very stuck in the local side, right? So the local side is if you're doing a transaction with someone from another company and they're awesome, and they're really, really great to work with and they were ethical and they kind of match our culture, would be able to be like, hey, would you be offended if, you know, my team leader reached out to you to see if KW is the right fit for you? So that's kind of always how I thought of growing profit share. And when you're at KW, as long as I have, almost everyone I know is already at KW. So, and we dominate so much of the transactions that at times it can be a little limiting on how are you meeting people to grow your profit share. So I didn't for about 8 or 9 years really have anything because I'm like, well, I don't really know anyone, or this agent just was horrible. I wouldn't really want them here. And that really limited my ability to grow this. But the great part is that is not the only avenue in which you can grow your profit share, right? So they mentioned in the video, you can do it anywhere in the country as well as anywhere in the world that we have a KW office. So what I do is I run online ads through Indeed and LinkedIn. I'm helping them either enroll in real estate school, they're already in real estate school, or they passed their exam, right? So there's 3 different avenues there. And then my job is to simply have a conversation with them and then connect them to their local office in their area. So that's the 2 approach. And I will say this, the best part about being more intentional with my recruiting internationally and nationally is I'm actually showing up better locally because it's kind of removed that like limiting belief, where in the past few months, I think I've referred more people to the market center, our local one, than I ever have in the past couple of years, because I've like realized that a lot of my excuses were very much like a small mindset. So now that I'm showing up better in the national side, I'm actually also showing up a lot better, I think, on the local side too, which is great because we have a really phenomenal market center. Not all of the market centers are as great as this one. So if I can try to grow this, awesome. But I'm also going to try to grow any market center at KW all across the world. So those are the 2 approaches. I would suggest really pursuing both. But if you feel that the local approach is maybe a little uncomfortable for you, then definitely focus looking at the entire country and running ads. All right, so the website is the best thing that ever happened to me because I didn't have to build it. So if you go to profitsharemastery.com, you can get it signed up. They run it for you. They onboard you. So it's a $300 startup fee. And then every month after that is $50. It's a very nice system. It's a well-oiled machine. They will ask you, it's like an onboarding form that McKissick's do. And they ask you, what do you want your domain name to be? What do you want your logo to be? You might have your logo, you might not, but they do all of the heavy lifting. And I would say maybe it took a month from signing up and paying to getting it up and running, which is really awesome. And one of the benefits that I wasn't aware of by getting this recruiting website was that you also can have affiliate relationships. So for those of you that got your license in New Jersey, you can't do it online, but everywhere else in the country, essentially, you could do it online and you can just sign up for it through the CE shop. So the CE shop actually gives you commission when you have someone signing up. I've only made $30 from it, but I'll take $30. If anyone thinks that's not a lot of money, then just give it to me now. I'll take it. And that's really great for CE credits. So I think I had Deb do my CE shop for her CE credit. So I got a little commission on that. And also new agents that are not in school, I'm constantly touching them saying, hey, they're having a sale, sign up here. And that's a really great way to earn some more passive income. I know some people that are making more than that, but I don't consider that to be the main focus. It's just like a nice little bonus that if they're going to go to school anyway, why not have it be through your website and earn that affiliate commission? So essentially, so far, I've almost got enough commission to cancel out 1 month of the website, which is pretty nice. And it's a really great way to like stay engaged with some of these leads that are not in school yet. They're like, hey, there's a sale. Hey, there's a sale. And you're like, okay, great. Maybe I'll sign up for it. I don't do K-Score, which is the free KW school. I haven't really touched that. I do think my personal opinion is if someone is trying to get into this business for free, they're going to have a very rude awakening when they realize that you have to kind of be okay with not making money sometimes. And you're going to have board dues and MLS fees. So whenever I saw it's like, well, I don't have the money for classes, I want it for free. Personally, my opinion is like, maybe they're just not in the right place yet. But other agents are doing the K-Score. I'm just personally not pursuing that. But you'll see that if you get the website, they're going to talk to you about that. So I just figured I'd touch on it.
Megan, for people who don't know what K-Score is, do you mind just like...
You can do it because I don't really understand it.
So, for anyone who has not heard what K-Score is, it's not yet available in New Jersey, but it is a school that Keller Williams does pay for anyone else to attend. Although we're not approved for it in New Jersey, most of the other states and New York are qualified under K-score. So what that basically means, to Megan's point, if you refer someone to a team lead, and maybe they're not looking to pay for licensing school, or maybe sometimes if their schedule is crazy, K-score, the benefit of it is not only is it paid for, it's not free, never say free because it's not free, the Market Center does pay.
Yeah.
But the other benefit is that it's self-paced and doesn't have an instructor online. So if you have someone with a crazy schedule and they just can't fit the 4 hours a day, Monday, Wednesday classes, or Monday through Friday, it's really nice for them to just go log on. If they have kids, sometimes that's a question I get.
Mhm,
It's a really nice opportunity to help someone who really does want to enter real estate.
mhm.
It may not be a financial barrier, maybe it's a time barrier.
Yeah,
That's a really great way that, to Megan's point again, just for you to be a resource for them and
Yeah.
give them that doorway into K-score.
and if I'm not mistaken, you as the team leader can see when they're going through the classes. So I had someone that started getting her license in Chicago and then moved to like North Carolina. And she's like, oh, I just can't transfer it. We're like, no. So she was upset because she had paid for it. So the Market Center is doing K-score for her. And the benefit is that like we all can track, like people use our apps and stuff. They can see when she's doing it. And me and the team leader are like, all right, she's on it. Maybe reach out to her. So I would say this, I'm not against doing it later on. It's just, you get a lot more calls from people that are not in school when you turn on K-score for your website. And I personally just found that I was focusing so many calls on people that were probably never going to start school that I personally turned that off. But I'm not against revisiting that as I grow this side hustle into a bigger business. But the benefit is that there was more of a connection with the TL of like where they're at in the process. And to be fair, you also can do that in the CE shop. So when I've had people sign up, you can see how much completion they've done. So again, it's like an extra touch. If you're like, hey, I see you haven't really started your classes. Any barrier to that? Is it time? What is it? So it is nice to be able to have that back end knowledge to be able to touch them and kind of nudge them. If they paid for it in the CE shop, or if the Market Center paid for it, it's nice to have that. I like tracking everything. So it's just one more layer of tracking, which is great.
Definitely. And even if it's just an offer, I will tell you, even though there are times I start a conversation with K-score, even if they may not choose to go that route, if there's another school, if they sometimes prefer in person, or they want someone who really holds them accountable to a schedule, just discussing, Keller Williams actually does pay for your real estate school. Once they hear that, it's like, let's talk, let's meet, let's get on the phone. So even if it's just starting the conversation, they may not end up being part of K-score, but just know it's a really great value add because not a lot of people.
And there's no requirement to then
Join.
sign with
Yeah.
us.
No requirement.
And I would say, like, if you know someone in another state looking to get their license, I would do that. Like, I think it was just too difficult on the grand scale because it was just a lot. You're getting a lot more leads that are not in school and a lot more calls. And I just found it overwhelming because I have other responsibilities. But I think in the future, I would consider shifting that back on as I build this out a little bit more. But it's that, again, like KW just always offers you something. Whether or not you choose to leverage it is your choice. But I think for me, just being at a company that's always forward thinking and always trying to give us leverage is a huge benefit. And I'll let you know if I end up turning it back on, and I'll keep you guys updated. But I think it's something to consider for sure. I just didn't fully understand it yet. I think if our area had it, I think I'd feel more comfortable, but I was like, I just don't even know if I can guide them on it yet, but definitely looking to stay informed on that.
It's not just you, Megan, just so you know, it is a newer program,
Yeah.
so this December, I believe it just hit its 1 year. So if you guys haven't heard it, don't be surprised,
Yeah.
it was their pilot year. But you may hear more about it, I would say within the next 8 to
Cool.
10 months.
Good.
Because that's when
Keep me in the loop.
yeah, I will. And if you guys have other questions, if this is the part that's really interesting to you, I know Megan has a lot more that she's gonna talk about, so I don't wanna take the time here. But contact either one of us, or if Megan doesn't feel comfortable, then contact me, because I do work with a lot of people who enter K-score.
And like, I will say this, in some states, your real estate classes are $1,000. Like, the most interesting thing that I found is every time I look at a state, you're like, ooh, they do real estate really differently. Like some states are like 130 hours, some are 60, some are 1,000. Some states you have to become a broker. You cannot be a sales associate. So I've actually found that to be really interesting and fun. So for the states that are $1,000, like, yeah, that's a pretty big barrier. And I understand why they do it, and potentially that's a benefit to the industry. But I think the more I get informed, I think the better I would say, hey, those states are super expensive. Maybe offering K-score is a really great option. But we'll keep in touch. And as it gets, I just don't know a lot about it. And I don't want to talk about something that I don't know because that would not be genuine. All right, so let's talk about the recruiting process. It genuinely is 4 steps, right? So the first step is creating your online ad. The beautiful thing is, you don't have to create it. The McKissicks have built it out for you. It's literally a copy and paste. So talking about leverage, once again, like I was overwhelmed of, I gotta do the website, I gotta do all this ad copy. Like, I don't know how to do an online job. I've never had a job outside of real estate. This is the only career I've had. So having that, like I've tweaked it a bit, but knowing that you just copy and paste it, you're done, huge value add there. So you set a budget online, and Indeed actually will give you a service rep and they'll help you. So the advice that I got was, it's a little confusing from the outside perspective, but there usually is a suggested minimum ad spend a day. And I always thought that was kind of like BS. I was like, all right, like they're just trying to get more money out of me. I'm going to spend way less than that. And what the Indeed rep kind of told me was, if you pay that minimum or even $1 or $2 more, you're going to be page 1 of the ad instead of page 4. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. So what I've done is I'm running ads for shorter periods of time. And I'm turning it off because if I had more money, I'd spend more money, but I don't. So the online ad is the first step. It's very easy. You create it on Indeed. If you need help, they're going to help you onboard with Indeed. Again, so many relationships. You don't have to be the expert. You have someone, and they created the ad copy. So you're done there. You create your online ad, and I do the entire country. You can just pick New Jersey. You can just pick Florida. You can just pick Ohio. I'm doing the entire country because I don't really care where you are. I've gotten Jamaica leads. I've gotten Puerto Rico leads. I haven't gotten any in Europe yet. Maybe that'll happen someday. But essentially you can go anywhere in the world and you get a lot of leads. Like I would say in 2 days, so I'm spending about $200. I'm getting like 160 leads. It's a lot. So I can only imagine full-time running it all month. It would be a full-time job, which is my goal. I'm just not there yet. So step 1 is the online ad. They're going to apply not on Indeed. They're going to apply on your website that they made for you. And there's 3 categories: not in school, or licensed. And they call that experience. So essentially you're going to be in one of those 3 buckets. If you're not in school, since I have K-score off, you're not going to be asked to talk to me, because I don't want to talk to them yet until they're in school. If you're in school, if they're close to their exam date, they're going to be pushed to have a call scheduled with me. So just a phone call. And then if they're experienced, I usually, if they don't schedule me right away, I will reach out ASAP, because if they already have a license and or experience, it's like a hot lead. You want to take it on immediately. So those are the 3 buckets. So the discovery calls are step 2. And that's if you're in school or experienced, right? The best part is they use Appointment. It looks at your Google Calendar and it will not schedule them if you have something. So it's kind of like a no-brainer. Like it looks at your calendar, it's like, oh, Megan has a home inspection for 3 hours. So we're not going to show those 3 hours in the appointment. You can pick what days you want to do it. You can pick the time. Now be mindful, there is going to be a time zone difference. So be mindful of like giving some variety, because if you only do 9 a.m.s, people in California might not call you at 6 a.m. to talk about real estate. But that's the best part. So you're going to get an email, discovery call scheduled. That means that essentially on your calendar, you have a call with someone and it'll have the details in there. So that's step 2. It's very simple. In that discovery call, you're basically just chatting with them about who they are, why they like real estate. And then step 3 is you're going to refer them to the closest market center. The best part is it's actually really easy. We have a thing called white pages. You go there, you search the city, the zip code, whatever, and you find the market center, you find the team leader, and you call them. It's pretty simple. Again, being an open book company and having all this information is just so simple. What I normally do is when I get that call scheduled, I will prep and already look at the market center and have that market center in there, have the team leader's number in there. So I'm on the call. Once I hang up, I can immediately refer them. And then I confirm with them, hey, because like, if you look at a map, there's no scale. You don't know how big the city is. You don't know how tight the city is. So I usually confirm, according to what I looked up, blank market center is the closest to you on this street. Does that sound right? And they're like, yep, that's the one that I was thinking of. Or yeah, that's actually really close. So I just kind of have that ready. So I'm not like, oh my God, I have to make sure it's the right market center. Because the last thing I want to do is refer them to the one they don't want or the one that's not close to them and then have to do more work. And then the final step is just follow up. So essentially it's just 4 steps. You run the ad, you get the call scheduled, and do the call, you refer to the market center, and then you follow up and you just cross your fingers that they name you and they join KW. So it's pretty simple. It's not that complicated. It's just 4 steps. The most important thing to keep in mind is that your job is to listen to them, to inspire them, and then refer them. I always say, I have the best job in this. I go, you can do it. I believe in you. talk to her and she's gonna tell you about the cap to split the fees. I don't do any of that. I am not here to tell them about any of that. That is not our job. We are not there to talk about that. One, we don't know because it's their market. And two, that's just, we can cause more harm by saying something wrong that then you then have to undo, right? And I would say your experiences, just don't talk, just talk about your experience and then leave it to the professionals. So that's why we call it recruiting, but it's kind of not. It's just inspiring and directing. So I would say just keep that in mind. I ask them like, hey, why real estate? What was your previous career? And I try to pick up something that they mention and say like, oh, that's a great skill that will translate to real estate. So the calls kind of go like, hey, Deb, this is Megan O'Brien, career consultant with Keller Williams. We have our call scheduled for now. How you doing? Whatever. And I go, all right, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got to this point in your journey in real estate. And they'll talk. I type down notes, right? Property management. Oh, that's great. Teacher. Oh, that's great. Nanny. Oh, that's great. And you try to find a way to tie whatever skill they told you or whatever dream they told you to why they're going to be awesome. Have I talked to some people that I don't think are going to be awesome? 100%. But that is not for me to decide. That's for them to decide and the TL to decide. Confirm their license and make sure that, hey, your exam is going to be on this date, right? Because you want to make sure you're not giving the lead to the market center if their test is a month out, because that's a waste of my time, their time, and you don't really want to talk to someone who hasn't even passed their exam or maybe even scheduled it. But usually the way the website works is they kind of gatekeep you if you're not close enough to that date. So you're only really talking to people that are ready to go. I confirm that blank is your closest market center. And then I say, let me tell you about myself a little bit. And I tell them a mostly true story. I kind of fabricate here and there because it's like I'm taking them on a journey. So I start off by saying, you know, I'm kind of weird. I've wanted my license since I was 10. I got my license when I was in college and I just joined the brokerage closest to my parents' house. I didn't interview. I didn't know what to ask. And in that, year, I did 2 transactions and I was a little scared that I maybe picked the wrong career. And I said, one of my strongest memories, and this is true, I went to my broker and I said, hey, I actually have a buyer. How do I write the purchase contract? And she went to me, read it, just read the contract. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And yet I don't think that's really understanding it and really being able to help them. And fun fact, the person who helped my first contract is actually Deb. I went into the office, we were friends before KW, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And she was like, let me help you, my little baby. I was like 22, I was a child, and Deb really helped me. But you know what? It wasn't my broker that helped me. She kind of blew me off. So and this is where I fabricate, but it's mostly true. And I say, I came back from vacation, this is true. And my friend, AKA Deb, said, hey, I'm leaving, I'm joining KW. And I was like, oh no. And she's like, no, you're gonna come. So she's like, meet with the team leader and decide for yourself. And the part that I semi-fabricate, but it's essentially true, is in that meeting, I saw the training calendar. This is true. What I kind of fabricated was, and on that training calendar was how to write a contract. It wasn't at the time, but we have that in here all the time. So it's true in the sense that they were going to teach you that. And I said, in that moment, I understood that I wasn't stupid for asking that question. I was at a market center that did not value education and training. And then I make a joke of, well, obviously 10 years later, I could write a purchase contract. But what I've learned 10 years later is passive income, investing in real estate, how to leverage my business. So I let them kind of know that we're not just for new agents, right? We're great for new agents. And also you can grow with the company. So I kind of tell a story that helps them self-discover how important training is. And a lot of people go, oh my God, my biggest fear is the contract. I'm so scared. So right then and there, I've already showed them, if you go somewhere else, you might not have that help with that contract. And if you don't have a Deb, you might be writing the contract wrong. So I kind of create a little bit of fear, but in a healthy way, right? And then I let them know, but if you come to our company, you're going to have that foundation and that base of education. So that's kind of the story I tell. Very rarely do I not tell it because I think it hits on a couple points that are important. So create your own story. It should be mostly true. Like I said, I kind of embellish a little for just the theatrics of it, but essentially it's true. It's important for them to hear about your success because they don't know anything, right? So you don't want to talk to them about, your database or any of that. You can if they talk about certain things, but I try to just show them the story of being lost in a career and feeling like I can't do it. And then realizing I was only lost because I wasn't getting guidance. And then once I came here, I found my home and my guidance. I also talk about collaboration. And I say, you know, if you know anything about sales or even anything corporate, more often than not, people are not sharing and helping each other. And I say that is completely different at KW. We're a very collaborative environment. And we believe that the more we share, the more we all benefit and the better we are as an office and as an industry. And then I talk about our OPs. I say the owners of my office have a real estate team that do over 100 million in sales. And you know what they do? They give us their listing presentation and they share that with us. And I say that, I'm like, we're in an environment where the people doing the most business are giving you exactly what they do to get success and they share it. And there's no fear of losing business because of that. And a lot of these people are in corporate where they're burnt out, right? Or they're, you know, in sales and they know that sales is cutthroat. And I say, listen, I'm not saying that like no one's cutthroat in my office or in real estate, but we have a different culture here. And a lot of people really feel soothed by that because they're scared of entering like a Shark Tank of like, people are just going to eat you alive if you don't know. And I think all these like reality TV shows of real estate, like don't help where it's like, I'm going to beat you. And I just kind of say like, we're not really like that here, which is a big part of what differentiates us from other people. And that kind of tees up the TL talking about profit share. I don't touch on it. But it kind of does like, hey, we're all vested in each other's success. So I kind of plant that seed. And then when they meet the TL, it connects a little bit better. So that's basically my phone call. It's 15 minutes. You could tell I'm a little chatty. Sometimes mine are 30. But I really kind of am trying to keep it tighter. But if the conversation's flowing and they're asking questions, I try to obtain as much information as possible. So when I hand the lead over to the TL, I'm giving them their whole life story. And I think that's super helpful, right? If I can hand you a lead and say, this is their background, this is their big why, this is their concern, you then can customize your presentation to them and focus on what matters. So I consider this like really good pre-qual that will help me close.
And I just wanted to add something to that. When you do that and you guys take the time to understand someone's story and you do pass it on to the TL, from my experience, I always name drop. So for example, if Megan refers that person, oh, you know, Megan told me this, and this about your story. She also mentioned blah, 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 blah. Because at the end of the day, I want that person to feel like, oh, wow, Megan really advocated for me and is the one sharing information. Because what I am very cautious about doing is I don't want them to really build a close relationship with me more than the referral point.
Correct.
So when you guys are taking the time to build that relationship, it makes it a lot easier for us.
I think her story should win the KWAA.
KWAA.
Keller Williams
Alcoholics.
Academy Award.
I always say I'm about to perform a performance of a lifetime of like, I was scared and lost. And that's like, I don't do it that dramatic, but it's most of it's true. Like you have to ramp it up though for theatrical. I'm shorting the timeline, but like Deb did save me. She did pull me out of there. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. And I usually say like, I thought they were all the same. They're not the same. My broker really did scoff at me and go, just read it. That happened. Right. And that happens more than you'd imagine. And like real estate has changed pretty drastically from 10 years ago. I think more companies are copying us because they want to be like us, but they can't because they don't have the culture. So there are more training. There is all of that. But you'd be surprised at how many places still don't give a shit about these agents. They don't care. And I usually let them know like, hey, the next step is this, right? Okay, here will happen next. We do that in real estate, don't we, with our clients? I do that with them. And I say, and they usually ask me, like some people ask, like, well, what are you? And I go, consider me your fairy godmother, right? I try to be the person I didn't have when I got my license because I didn't know how to pursue it. I didn't know how to find the market center and I didn't really know what to ask. And I end the conversation each time with saying, when you meet with this market center, keep in your mind that you're interviewing them, right? You're not there to impress them or they hire you. Anyone will hire you. You have to find the office and the brokerage that's going to support you. And most people don't know that it's a reverse interview. And I do that because I know for a fact, we will support them and guide them better. And if they go into it going, well, how are you going to help me? They're going to ask tough questions of other market centers. What I'm working on currently is creating an interview questionnaire to give to these recruits and go, hey, I'm going to give you a questionnaire. And like one of the questions on there is like, is it your listing your lead? Where do your leads go when you have a listing? Because we all know in other companies, they're not going back to the agent, right? Who owns your listings? So if you choose to leave that brokerage, are you leaving your business on the table? And you're creating basically like a beautiful little guidance to KW, where other companies don't do that. So I haven't finished that yet, but that's the next step of giving them a branded to Megan interview questionnaire and say, hey, this will help you when you interview market centers. Because I think too, a lot of people don't know what to ask. I also say, hey, listen, if you meet the market center and you have a lot of questions and you don't really want to ask them, give me a call back. This is my cell phone. I'm here to help you. And one guy just did call me this weekend and he had like 3 or 4 questions. And I was able to tell the team leader that and say, hey, Joe had this, and this as a hesitation. They talked, he's onboarding Wednesday. It's like, you have to really create like a team mentality. And I'll be honest, is every team leader friendly and gets that? No, but the ones that do, they see me as a value and I see them, we're helping each other get this person to the company. So I just try to be really transparent and say, I'm just here to help you. Because when I had my license, I was lost. And if I had found KW a year earlier, I probably would have built a better foundation than floundering for a year, right? And I just think it's important to like educate them on like the process and why we're different. And then also, you have to really hold that office accountable to supporting you. And if you go to interview with KW and they see a training calendar and they go to XYZ and there's none of that, well, they already know from my story that means they're going to need help and no one's going to give it to them. So create your own story, create your own Academy Award performance. And I would imagine all of you have a genuine story of why KW is important to you. And even if you're newer, it doesn't matter. Even if you've only ever been at KW, it doesn't matter. Find why it's unique to you and why that you feel that you're at KW. And this is going to sound super cheesy, but every recruiting call is like renewing my vows with this company. Every time I talk to someone, it's a reminder of why we're different, of our values. Why is my company important? And I think in this market, we're all a little burnt out. Would you agree? Are any of us just feeling like just a little manic? It's a reminder of like why we're doing what we're doing and why our company is so special. And I think that in times of real adversity and toughness, knowing that you're in the right market center and the right company is a huge game changer. So that's how I do my discovery calls. The most important thing is following up, just like in your real estate business. It is something that when I first started, I didn't have a good system. Like I didn't want to put them all in command because just like they weren't ready to be in command. So I'll show you guys after what I use to organize it, but you have to be organized. You have to know where the person is in the process. You have to know when their exam is. You have to know when they're meeting the team leader. Otherwise, you don't know when to follow up, right? So I will show you guys once I finish the presentation what I use. It's important. You cannot let people fall through the cracks. It's super, super important because they're motivated, they're ready, they're raising their hand and saying, I want to work at an office and I need you to help me. And most of the time, they're not interviewing multiple offices. I tell them to, they're not. So you have to get in there, you have to be on time with your phone call, and you have to be a resource and you have to be organized. That's in any part of the business, but especially this, because sometimes I'm taking 8 calls a week. I don't remember each person. That's why you have to have good notes. That's why you have to have a good system in place. And like I said, the white pages on, what is it, mykw.kw.com?
Yep.
And then to the bottom right is white pages. And that's where you can find a market center. And I usually just call the team leader and I say, hey, I have a new licensed agent. Is it you, an ATL, or a PC? Who do we want me to talk to? Because some offices are very big where they don't have new agents talk to the TL. So asking like, who do you want me to speak to? And that way, you know. The one thing I will say is anything that you can do to save time when you're repeating the same task over and over, it's a 4-step process. It doesn't change. So what can you automate, right? So what I do is I realize that every time I text to confirm my call, I'm like writing out a friggin' paragraph. I'm like, why am I doing this? So I created a text template. Now, if you have an Android, you can do it too. I just don't know how. Where I type in, I think I did type in discovery call. And if you notice down here, it will see that little middle button. I hit it. Hello, this is Megan O'Brien, career consultant. And then I'll add in other information. So since I'm not really good at math, so sometimes doing time zone changes stress me out. So I've made it where I just text them an hour before. I just go, hey, we're meeting in an hour. Instead of like, we're meeting at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So I just have done that and I kind of do it that way. So I do text them and say, hey, I'll be calling you from this number because I'm a 201 number and I'm calling California. I want them to know like, this is me. Hi, I'm Megan. And then I do also put in the appointment link in case they want to reschedule. So I've had people kind of ghost me, which is gonna happen, but when you offer them like an out, like, hey, if you can't make it, let me know, and then you can reschedule. I found that's been super helpful. Sometimes they make it like 2 weeks in advance and they can't make it and they feel guilty, so they won't answer you. Then I call and it's like, so I try to give them an out, like, hey, if you can't, this is the way to reschedule with it. So this will save you time, right? That's like a little fix that saves you time where you're not typing like a whole paragraph. So that's been super helpful for me. And these are my email templates. So whenever I call a team, they're like, oh, just give me their number, I'll call them. I go, no, I'm going to have a paper trail. So I'm going to introduce you. So I have 2 separate emails. The one right here is the email that I send to the team leader. And I usually put the email subject is like Megan O'Brien notes and contact info. And in there, I will copy and paste my discovery call notes. And then I also give them the lead's name, phone number, and email, right? That's a separate email. Now, if you notice, the reason I have an arrow here is I've made it super simple. They know my market center number, so I'm being named a sponsor. Is that you need it? You need that, right? The market center info? Okay. Because like Megan O'Brien could be anybody, but I'm Megan O'Brien 1120. So I have that in my email. I will say this, I've created a separate email for recruiting. It's Megan at startkw, I think Start Real Estate KW, I forget what it is, I should know it, .com. It's separate from my real estate email because it's a different business. So the only thing in this email are all my recruiting. So this is my template for the TL. I copy my notes, I put the contact info. I leave that email up, I don't send it, it's a draft, it's ready to go. Then I do this one. Hi, recruit name. It was so great speaking to a career in real estate. As promised, copy this email is insert leadership name at whatever office, next steps. And this is kind of where I mentioned sponsoring. I don't really talk about it on the phone call. I just think it's a little tacky. It's not my job, but I do kind of have it in the email. And then I leave both these up and I hit send at the exact same time. So the team leader now has their contact info and my notes. And then I have a paper trail of me introducing them. I would say most TLs are ethical, but why not have a paper trail? I just think it's easier. And then from there, they take it over. So those are like 2 time-saving things that I do that I don't have to, I'm doing this every time. So create a system that you don't have to keep typing this all up. And I would say I actually only did the text template while doing the presentation for this. I was like, why do I not have a text template? So thank you, because I just leveraged out one more thing teaching. So that's what I do as my text template for the recruit and then my email template for the TL. And this is my 2 cents. This is separate from your real estate business. I haven't created my own separate bank account for it. Maybe I will in the future where it's not even coming out of my business account. It'll be coming out of my recruiting account, separate email, and then try to have like your own brand with this, right? It's different from your real estate sales. Something I'm starting to do now is a monthly agent resource email. I'm copying the Copex because they have a really great email they send to agents in their area. And in that, I have like a podcast spotlight. I have a CE Shop sale link if they want to sign up for classes. I give away like a Glover University freebie of tracking something. And then I think I have like NAR stats from the entire country. So I'm now hitting these people, all these leads, all of them, the ones I've never spoken to, the ones I have spoken to, all of them every month, and saying like, I'm your resource. I'm your resource. And I intend on doing that as it goes forward. When someone names me as their sponsor, then they go into command and there is a tag called downline. And my plan for that, as that grows, is to like potentially like give someone a ticket to family reunion. And I plan on, as my downline grows, giving them a call and saying, you know, when we met, this is what I did. And then show them this and then encourage them to recruit, right? Because that helps my downline, it helps them. So I'm still early enough. I don't have like a ton of people. I would say by the end of this month, praying to God, I'll have 5 in my downline. And before this, I had like 2. So right there, I already more than doubled it. So that's my goal, is to kind of focus on this. I would say my plan with profit share money is to buy real estate with it. So have passive income, buy me more passive income. But if you want to use vacations, knock your socks off for your kids, whatever it is. But I'm mad that I didn't do this 10 years ago. I've been with KW for a long time and I didn't do this. And if I had done it, I wouldn't probably be here. I'd be on a yacht, someone else. But I'm starting it now. And I think the biggest difference is that we didn't have a system in place, and the McKissicks are phenomenal. They share everything. Her Sun Press is so reachable. I go in the Facebook group, he answers me. Like, it is a really great community. There's so much encouraging people in there. The onboarding for the website was phenomenal. Like, there's so many resources. It's incredible. Like, I really felt that doing this myself would have been too overwhelming. And now I just adopt it and I'm tweaking it, and it's really, really simple. So I usually spend about 1 week a month just on this, because it's a lot of calls, it's a lot of follow-up. Those of you that have a team, like an admin, I'm jealous, because a lot of this could be done by them and not me, but I'm not there yet. And I would say the biggest thing holding me back is not having unlimited money to spend on ads. If I had more money, I would spend more money. It is awesome. I'm very glad I did this. And that's that. I want to show you guys my pipeline for it. But before, any questions before I show you guys that? Oh, no. Yes.
Are you gonna share your template for texting?
Sure. Yeah, I can show it to you. I can send it. I can definitely do that. So this is what I use to organize. This is called Trello. It's actually pretty phenomenal. I'm a little visual. Trello. I'm paying for a version. I think it's like $15, but well worth it. So as you can tell, now the NSISEX is their lingo. That means no school, in-school experience. So that's not my lingo. That's the McKissick's thing. So you get an email, it would be like IS, means in school, whatever. So the NS responding to drip. The beautiful thing is the McKissick's, if you're not in school, or even if you're in school, they will put you on a drip automatically. I don't have to manage that. They create the content for it. I don't do it. Every now and again, they'll answer, like, someone email was like, do you want to be happy? Because it's like, we had the happiest place to work. And somebody responded, yes, Megan, I would like to be happy. And I died laughing. But that person is like on the fence about starting real estate. I didn't talk to them at all, but they responded to the drip. So the people in here are people that have responded to the email that aren't doing anything yet, but they've raised their hand and they've responded to the drip. So this is the ones that are grayed out. It's a feature called card aging. That means I haven't been in that card in a while. So it's kind of like a visual way to go, maybe you follow up with them because you haven't been in that card. So it's I know this is a lot, but I'm just trying to show you visually.
Helpful, Megan.
Yeah, so the ISEX, what I started to do is when I get leads, not everyone that's in school or experience will schedule a call with you. Not everyone does. What I'm doing now is I'm reaching out to them and saying, hey, thanks for applying. I would love to schedule a call with you. Here's my link. And those are the people that they have not scheduled a call with me, but I've reached out to them because now that I'm getting this a little more organized, I can do that. So like you see right here, I'm awaiting response. She's in school. So I reached out, she didn't schedule it. The next one are all the people that very rudely did not pick up my phone call. But I do plan on reaching back out to them and saying, hey, you missed our call if you want to kind of stay in touch. So that's that. Discovery call scheduled. This girl scheduled me for May 10th. So she's in there. Now I'll open up a cart and I don't want you to be overwhelmed, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is how I organized it. So right here, this is the email I get from the website. That's their email. I just copy and paste it in there. That's how you get the email. So recruit type, their name, their email, their phone number, where they live. Do they have anyone else from Kennedy they've talked to? And then their exam date if they have it, right? So then I add in the market center info. She's in Atlanta, the South Fulton area. That's the TL. That is the TL's number. As you can tell, that's the phonetic way to spell her name because I didn't know how to pronounce it. So I have it in there. 28 April. This is where she's in school, goals. I have all this in here. This is just the notes. I have the location of you don't have to do this, but I put it in the map of where the KW office is. So if I want to like pop it up, it'll show the map, which is helpful. And then these are the custom fields that I've done. Discovery call date, that is when I spoke to her at February 10th at 2:30. That is the date she's still in school, so I haven't introduced her to TL yet. That is when I would say the TL introduction date. So that's when I send the email of like, hey, Clinicia is ready to meet with you. And then the exam date is if they give that to you. The point of contact, if it's not the TL, I put in the PC's name. And then I put in here, if I know the date they're meeting the TL. You don't always get that info, but if I get that, I'll put that in there. And then down here is where I follow up. So like on 4:30, she actually texted me and was like, hey, I'm doing great. My exam is this date. So like we keep in touch. So this is kind of how I organize everything. So when you X out of this entirely, I also labeled her a future rock star because she used to sell for Cutco and crushed it. I was like, oh, you're gonna be fine. She's like, I love cold calling. I was like, you need to join and name me as your sponsor. Because she's like, I just love cold calling. I was like, well, that's freaking great. So I do the labels in school, future rock star. She's the only one I've labeled that because I was blown away with her. So as you can see here, it'll say the discovery call date, exam date. So at a glance, you can kind of see what dates are important. This took me a little bit of time to organize, so don't be overwhelmed, and I can help you if you choose to do this. And then this lane is the TLPC handoff. That means I have handed it off. I passed the baton to you, and now that is in your lane. Now I still obviously follow up, but knowing that the call is completed and I've handed it off is super helpful. So these are all people that I have to stay in touch with. And there might be a reason, maybe the TL meeting is in a week or whatever it is. And then this lane here is people that name me a sponsor. So if you notice, I think I can do this. It's a little feature and it blew my brains. Confetti. It makes me really think. So these are the people that have named me as their sponsor. This right here are people that have made the horrible mistake of joining another brokerage. I'm staying in touch. Jordan, me and her connected, we clicked. She didn't join us. That's totally fine. I'm still talking to her because I think there's going to be a point in time where she's not happy. And when she is, I want to stay in touch with her. That's my personal choice. Everyone here can do it differently. I'm a very emotionally charged person and I love people very strongly. So I feel like that's my strength. But if you're kind of more like a type D personality, like then maybe that's not your thing and that's fine. But that's just how I am. So these are two people that have joined elsewhere. Now, she told me she joined EXP. Andrew did not tell me who he joined, but I just Googled his name. Like Montana, Andrew, all right, he's at Christie's. Fine, totally cool. But I'm gonna stay in touch with him. And then these are the people that joined KW, but not me as their sponsor. Previous relationships, whatever, it's fine. And then these are the people that have just ghosted me in some way or another. But that's kind of visually how I organize it. For me, it's the only thing that worked because in like Command, I didn't think there was a way to do it unless I could create like our opportunities, make my own for recruiting, then I probably would use that, but I can't. So this is what I do. And it's been super, super helpful because at a glance, like I said, you can tell that I haven't been in some cards for a while. So like Tyler, I haven't been in her card in a while, but it's because she's not ready yet. So that's why I'm not in there, but it's a nice reminder that like it's called card aging. So you can just kind of see. So at a glance, I can look and visually see where they're at in the process and everything else like that. So that's been super helpful. And then let me see if I can show you. So this is the actual recruiting website. So this is not the homepage. They made this logo for me, by the way. I didn't even make it. So it's Real Estate Careers at Megan O'Brien. This is the homepage, but what you're going to have on your website for Indeed to be directed to is this. So they go on Indeed, apply now, they're getting this page and they're putting themselves in their buckets. They're picking the bucket. I didn't make this. I just paid for it, which is great. And then the email comes in, and that's kind of how I handle that. And I can show you guys how I organize my email. I'm a very visual learner. And when I started this, me and you, we like asked other agents across the country, like, can you show us what you do? And because I think I need to see it. So this is my separate email. See, like, here we go. We can see a real live one. Well, I can't look at that. So I tag in progress. I tag a team leader thread. We had to reschedule. I just asked, hey, works for her. I'll follow back up. All right. Now I would add that. I would put that little note in the card. So this is my separate email. If you do a compose, do templates. And I would do TL introduction or notes and contact info. Bam, done. So this is kind of how I organize. So again, as a glance, maybe I could find, I want to be happy, that email, I was dying laughing. So the red follow-up needed are usually ones that have reached out to me through the email drip that I have to kind of stay in touch with. And the ones in progress, all that. So again, at a glance, I'm very visual. I want to be able to come in and see, all right, this is a recruit, that's a recruit. I need to follow up here. He ghosted us. We'll find out where he went eventually because he didn't join us. I'll find out where he went. But yeah, just visually it helps me. So that's really all I have. I know it's a lot, but it's not as hard as it seems. It's really a very simple process that you repeat over and over and over until you become rich, which is the goal. And then eventually my goal is to do this full time because I really like it. And I can stay home in my jammies with my cat and not leave my house. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But I would say this, if you're newer to the company, do not pass this opportunity up. Don't do it. If you really believe in what you're saying, it's not dirty, it's not gross, it's genuine. And I really believe that we are the best company. So it's easy for me to like really have these conversations and they're 15 minutes. And you don't have to do my style, do your own style, just showing you how I do mine. But it's fun. And sometimes it's a little heartbreaking, but you know, you get over it. It's just like real estate. You're not going to get every listing, you're not going to get every buyer. So you just have to keep moving on. But well, let me show you the white pages because that's a little visual too. All right. So this is not your command site. Obviously, this is different. So you go here, you go down, white pages. Market center info. And then you're going to pick. Now, what I also do is sometimes it's hard to tell which market center they would be a part of. So I go to kw.com offices. I use this as a jumping off point because I don't know these areas, right? So like, let's say someone gives me, let's do Clinicia here. She gives me her zip code. I'm going to copy it, right? I'm going to put it here. Like, all right, now she's in College Park, Georgia. And if you noticed, bam, Atlanta, South Fulton. So then I would go into the white pages. Let's do, did I do Georgia? No, I didn't do Georgia. And sometimes they'll give you like a business center. So then you have to find who owns it. It's a little time consuming, but nothing crazy. And once you get the hang of it, it's better. So I do Georgia, South Fulton. You can tell I already clicked on it, obviously, because I already sent her someone. And then you see here, team leader, you click on Toya's info. And then you get her phone number and you can call her. I would also say a way to double check is make sure that the zip code they give you is the service zip code here. That helps. And you'll get the hang of it. You just have to do this a couple times and then you're going to be good at it. But that's kind of how I search. And then I copy all the info, like I said, into the card. So I'm on the phone. I'm not then searching for the market center. You know, if someone ghosts you, did you waste your time? Sure. But I actually think it's more important on the phone call to like not be clueless about where they are. And I used to say, hey, I'm in New Jersey. I don't hide the fact that I'm not local. And they don't really care. But I find that it's easier to say, hey, is South Fulton, is this area sound right to you? And they go, yes. Because there was one in Colorado Springs that had 2 market centers and I can't tell the scale of the city. And it looked like she was close to both of them. So I said, which one's better? And she told me which one was better. And I introduced her to that one. And then one guy in Houston was close to 2. I gave him 2. I said, you pick. So interview both ones and finds out which one you like better. So very rarely have I had to give 2. But that might happen sometimes in, you know, cities that have more than 1 KW. So that's kind of what I do and then love it.
A question, maybe you can help answer this, or maybe you have figured out. Would you rather be the first office to interview them or the last office to interview
Good
them?
question.
Oh,
Because normally, like, if somebody's like, oh, I'm thinking about getting into real estate, I always say, interview a bunch of agent, like, you know, offices or whatever. But I'm just thinking in this case, you're not gonna be like, and make sure you interview with Coldwell. and make
So
sure
most of
you
them don't interview more than one.
Yeah.
So I think it's so
would
easy.
you want to be the
Yeah.
first then?
I would say first and then we follow up because there are people who, and it depends on their personality style. Some people are research based where they need to go and compare. And then I actually do like that too, because they come back and they appreciate what we have here more. But I do always like to be the first person to build that relationship, but we do always follow up.
Yeah. And I would say most people aren't shopping around because I've made it so incredibly easy on them.
I'm just
Like,
thinking like
yeah.
statistically, if
Yep.
someone's more likely to go to our office first as opposed to last,
So,
like, you know.
The
what I mean?
reason I
That's
thought of
right.
doing the interview questions was because
that.
Jake, who I just showed you, ghosted me. We'll find out where he went. I think he went to Coldwell Banker. I used to be a Coldwell Banker. I kind of know what questions that they'll fail in. So that's where Deb, when I text you, I'm like, I got to create a list of interview questions that if we're this first one, and let's say Cole Banker gets them on their split, like maybe he doesn't know that you don't own your leads or your listing. So I feel like the point I'm trying to make with making the interview questions is, even if we're not the first or whatever, the last, there's a way that that questionnaire is, and it's not like, I'm not being deceptive. It's, I'm gonna talk about fees and cap, because I think that's important for them to ask, right? But I think there's enough questions in there that will, even if maybe that they'll get marketing, whatever the heck they try to woo them with, the other parts that we know as professionals matter, that a brand new agent doesn't know that matters, right? I didn't know I didn't own my listing at CV. I didn't know that. It's not a big deal. It's your choice, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that if I had like my grandpa's listing, I wanted to leave, they're like, well, it's ours. I didn't know that. And it's good to know that when you have a listing and they call the office, you're getting that lead. It's your listing. And those are things that a new agent would have no idea to ask. But when you present it in a neutral way, it's going to help you stand out. I like your input too on actually the interview questions. We should talk about that.
Yes.
Because I want to create that next and have that be something I give them as an item of value.
It was so strange, I just realized, I had a collaborative experience recently with an agent from another company. And I was blown away, because I was like, this is great, we're gonna collaborate, blah, blah, blah. And some of this, she was like telling me, she's like, oh, no, like, we have to have other agents at our open house and give them the opportunity to get buyers. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, we should really give them the opportunity. I said,
You can
it's
choose
your
that.
listing.
Yeah.
Like, you know that those are your, like, they should be first, like,
Yeah.
your opportunity as a. She's like, oh, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
but I, you know.
Because that's how they're supplementing the non-producing agents, not through training, not through coaching, but through, which is, listen, if you want to have someone do your open house with you, knock your socks off, but it's your choice. It's your business.
It should be your choice.
Exactly.
And it wasn't her choice.
Yes, yes. So I think those are the types of questions that us being knowledgeable know what separates us. And I will say, don't sleep on profit share. Don't.
I think also too, the training aspect is very important, because every company offers training.
Exactly.
And it's not the amount of training you receive. I think it's more so the quality of the
Correct.
training that's the differential factor.
Yep.
That
I agree.
separates KW from.
Yeah, because like when I joined KW, no one had our splits. No one had it. The cap wasn't a thing. No one had training. It's very different now because they're all copying us. But that being said, like it is now, they are doing that. But the question is it to the caliber that we have? And that's why when I tell our Oscar winning story, I say beyond the foundational parts, because that's where other companies are copying. What they cannot copy is the MREA. You know what I mean? They can't copy what our mega agents are doing to support. They just can't. I mean, other agents they all have mega agents at every company, but I try to let them know that beyond the foundation, there's so much more they're going to help you with. And I think that's super important too. And like a lot of other companies are doing the bait and switch of what we're doing, discovery calls, but then it's join my team. And we can all guess what company's doing that. And they're not being honest with it. And I think that when you go into it with the right intention, it's genuinely there to help and inspire. And if they don't pick KW, that's fine. That's their choice. I don't ever make it like that, but I really do come from contribution and I'm very genuine. And that is what it is. And my goal in the future is team leaders that I've talked to that are phenomenal, potentially run local ads in their area, because I know they're going to just knock it out of the park. I would say the most frustrating part of this process, unfortunately, can be leadership. Not everyone is as great as our leadership. Ours is top tier and then another tier above that. Other ones are not. And that can be a little frustrating, but you just kind of can't worry about that too much. And I have said that there potentially has been some circumstances that are not right. And Linda and Press McKissick will get involved, and they have a hell of a lot more pull than Megan O'Brien does.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the McKissick's genuine integrity with that, because there's been people in the group. I had an incident and they will step up and help you if that needs to happen. And that's what's really great is we talk the talk and we walk the walk. So it's important. Any other questions? Oh God. You're just staring at me.
You know what, I just wanted to comment on the fact that you're referencing your Academy Award winning story. And I think that's your way of saying that everyone has their own
Yeah.
way of attracting people, and that's going to naturally happen. What Megan is presenting, and this is important about profit share, what Megan is presenting is a more systematized approach to profit share, which is not the only way to
Yep.
really grow your profit share. I'm looking at you, Tim, I saw Maria in here, and even Deb Norman, just having you guys all here, you all have grown your profit share to in very different
Correct.
ways that are specific to your personalities, your strengths, and your personal experiences with Keller Williams.
Yep.
And I love that Megan is providing more of the technical systematized approach
Yeah.
that the statistics have put together, which I know people have been asking us about. But keep in mind, we do offer this to show you.
Yes.
Okay, this is
Yep.
another
The
item
local
on the
way.
buffet of ways to grow your profit share.
And like I said, it's made me more willing to do it. I get weird. Like if I know the person, I'm like, I can't have them come into the office. I feel weird. It's someone you don't know, you don't care. But since doing this, my mindset has totally shifted. Like Matt is great, Ronnie's great, Bill's great, you're great. Like I don't hesitate to send anybody to you. And I literally have said, like, hey, would you be offended? And it's like a very scripty thing. I'm not a scripty girl, but I said to an agent that I'm trying to woo, I was like, hey, would you be offended if my team leader reached out? And he's like, of course not at all. And it was that simple. I didn't meet with him and talk about KW. I just met with him, had a beer, we shot the shit, and we built a connection that's genuine. And then a few weeks later, I was like, I'm gonna shoot my shot here. And whatever happens, happens, but I don't have to recruit him. That's not my job. You're not here to recruit them. You're here to refer and inspire them. And then the TL has the heavy lifting. I feel bad for you guys. I make it seem like it's all sunshine and rainbows because it is for me. You guys have the deeper conversations. And when they ask you a question that's a no answer, I think I just say, hey, listen, your local leadership team will be happy to answer that. And I'll let them know that you had that question. I mean, every now and again, I semi-answer it, but I really don't know the market center. I couldn't tell you what they do. I don't know, because they're all different.
You know, I would encourage you guys to not look at yourself as recruiters when you're
Mm-mm.
looking at profit share. I would actually use the word influencer.
Yep.
Because as active agents, you present a very, very different relationship. Or if you think about influencers who are on Instagram or celebrities who are wearing Nike or all of that, they're an influencer because of who they are and what they're doing with their business or their brand. And they happen to have another brand attached to the brand that they already have as a person. So if you look at Megan, she does this so well. She's a brand of a person, she's her own influencer, and they'll listen to her feedback on Keller Williams because similar to an athlete wearing Nike, Megan is a celebrity wearing Keller Williams, and that's what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
There's no point in this. That has to be you going through the details because that really is our job.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that we do this full time all the time.
Mhm.
Because there are some resources in Keller Williams, and mind you, we're not always experts, we're always looking for information. But we want that to be on our plate, so that way we can follow up and, oh, there's a specific resource that will address that specific objection that they have, and that will really answer their question. And sometimes when you you don't have to feel like you have to be the resource who has all the information, because you could potentially harm them when there
Yep.
could be a lot more and there could be a more full answer. That's really not your responsibility to know.
No.
But if you focus on being that influencer, I just want you guys to really imagine that you are the celebrities wearing Nike,
Yeah.
but you're KW agents who are amazing people. We're all amazing people here. And you also happen to be wearing that brand of KW. And all you have to do is build that relationship. When they have that relationship with you, they'll trust you and you'll have more pull.
Yep.
In their.
And it's really about them. Like it really is about them. They're like, I do this. I'm like, oh my God, that's such a cool job. It is not a cool job. You know how many times I go, I talk to so many people and you are really one that's inspiring me. I said it to everybody. Like, it's not that I'm not being genuine. It's just that in that conversation, you're trying to build them up. This is a tough business. A lot of these people are looking for something bigger than what they have, right? Very rarely do you leave a job with benefits and a salary to do this because you're happy. There's something missing in what they're doing. And it's our job to uncover that and then go to the team leader. Like, this is it. The kid I talked to yesterday, actually the woman, I'm sorry. She's a nanny in Queens. And she's like, my dad had passed. He was the provider for our family. I had to step up now. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, that's a big why. And I said to her, that feeling is going to help you push past the uncomfortable parts into the bigger things that are going to make you money. And like knowing that and saying to the team leader, like, listen, they have a really big goal and they're taking care of their siblings and their mom. Her dad is dead. We need to help this person. And other companies don't care. We care. And I think that it's our job to uncover what is it they're searching for and how can we be the vessel to help them achieve that. And it's, you know, a little bit of like a touchy-feely thing, but I mean, that's just what, even in sales, it's like that in real estate. Why is that house important to you? Why is that 4th bedroom important to you? Well, my mom, you know, got to stay with me. Okay, like that's what we do in our real estate transactions. You have to do that for recruiting. And I say recruiting, but I consider attracting talent. I'm here to attract talent and the right people. Only one person did I speak to that I literally said, I will not bring them to a market center because they're a bad person. I was like, then we don't want them here, but it's only been once, so.
And I showed up anyway, so.
All right, anything else, guys? Are we good? So it's profitsharemastery.com. So I want you guys to.
Thank you, Megan.
And just so you know, Linda McKissick this year, so far year to date, 80 grand in profit share. And I will also say this, some of the top profit share earners. Oh yeah, I should show you that too. The top profit share earners, some of them, Aaron Kaufman and Nick Villas, they don't sell real estate. They've never closed a transaction in their life. They only do this. So you don't have to be a mega agent. You don't have to do any of that. You just have to know why KW is special and refer. So some of the people that make the most money don't actually sell real estate. So food for thought.
Because it was like Sun's friend or something.
Yeah, Nick, who's like,
Nick.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, imagine being Press McKissick's college roommate.
Yeah.
Talk about the lottery.
Right.
And him and his wife, he does not sell real estate. He just recruits and then buys investment properties. And I would say Nick usually I think is like 50, 60 grand a year. And they buy property with it because it's the friggin' McKissick's is their like best friend. My college roommate is like a social worker. There's nothing wrong with that, but not Press McKissick. So it is what it is. Any questions, just let me know. I'm here to chat anything you want to talk about. So
Thank you so much, Megan.
Thank
This was
you.
Amazing.
Yeah.